Okay, hi everyone. So we are going to start OSPF.
Good evening,
Okay, how
sir.
many of you have configured OSPF in your company, or maybe you feel like there is OSPF in my company? Just raise hand. Yes, Siddharth. Okay, Hardev, Paz. And rest guys, are you using RIP or what? Are you guys using RIP protocol in your company? Because 90% companies are using OSPF, so you should have your. Okay, so somebody saying EIGRP, Diksha. Okay, Diksha,
We
for
are
which
using
company you
stack.
work? Okay. Okay, using IPsec. I'm asking about routing. Okay, how many of you like configure? Okay, OSPA, BGP, RIP. Okay, RIP, you guys are still using? Guys, I'm just getting some background noise. Please be on mute. Surinder, Hardev, and all. Okay, so most of you have already joined for CCNP. Okay, so there are some people on YouTube, those who are watching us. Okay, hi everyone. So, like, I'm going to start a new program, including obviously the guys who already joined for CCNP. That's not for them because they are already part of that program. So, like many candidates, they do not go for EIGRP or any further topic. So we have a program called OSPF BGP MPLS. So we are going to discuss just the content, even we have to cover, right, for OSPF. So just give me 1 minute. I have already shared my screen. Okay, so guys, this is going to be the batch. Okay, those who are only coming for OSPF BGP MPLS. Okay, so those who already joined my CCNP, so this program is already part of your program. Okay, I'm audible, guys, just to confirm. Okay, great. Okay, so like you guys can see here, OSPF BGP MPLS. Also, just give me 1 minute. Okay, great. So what we are going to cover in this batch, so we are going to learn about OSPF, BGP, and MPLS L3 VPN. So we'll be starting with very basic OSPF today. We will be discussing about OSPF today. Then we will also look for what is network statement, how you can configure OSPF with the network statement. And then we will also see the interface mode. So in most of the companies, when we work for ISP and all, they use this mode called interface mode. Okay, most of the companies are not using network commands. So we will also see passive interface, what are how you configure passive interface, and we'll see about the metric of OSPF, how OSPF calculate the metric. We'll discuss about DR BDR. We'll discuss about hello packet parameters because these are interview questions. Okay, tell me about hello packet parameters. Okay, and maybe some companies will ask you a lot of questions from DR BDR topic also. So then we'll also discuss about states, then we'll discuss about cost. Okay, means after end of this OSPF class, you will be able to speak like when somebody asks you, like suppose if you are taking my interview and you ask me, okay, tell me 5 packets of OSPF, I'll instantly say Okay, hello, link state request, link state update, link state acknowledgement, right? And there is one more. Hello, LSR, LSU, LSAC, and there is one more LSR, right? Link state request ho gaya, update ho gaya, acknowledgement, hello. And there is one more. What is that? Anybody knows? Yes. What is that? One packet DVD. Yes, great. So I just wanted to see. Okay, great. DVD. Yes, database description. And when somebody asks you states, you need to be very free. Instantly, you would say like down in a two-way start exchange loading full. But this is not how you have to speak in interviews. Be little slow. So we'll discuss how you guys can crack about OSPF interviews. Maybe most of you are getting like a lot of calls, but even you clear your first round, but maybe at second round, third round, fourth round, okay, you do not clear the interviews because of your knowledge. So if you fail or maybe in any interview, most of the engineers, I would say network engineers, if they are applying for ISP jobs or if they apply for enterprise, most of them they fail in OSPF and BGP. MPLS तक तो पहुंचते ही नहीं है. They do not go till MPLS. Most of them they get failed in the interviews till OSPF or BGP because OSPF is so big protocol. You can learn for a year also. तो एक साल तक भी पढ़ोगे ना OSPF तब भी खत्म नहीं होता. It's a very big protocol and BGP is like 2 years. You can keep learning BGP. So BGP is like 2x, 3x bigger than OSPF. Okay. So obviously we are going to learn the most effective OSPF in this batch. Okay. And means we will be going to learn about the most important topics of OSPF, because if you do self-learning, maybe you will spend 1 year or more than that for this kind of knowledge, what we are going to deliver in this batch. Okay. So OSPF will discuss about LSA types, type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4, type 5, and type 7 also. And we'll see how you can configure filtering. Filtering means in terms of route filtering, like how you can configure route maps. Okay, you can configure prefix list. Okay, how you can configure summarization. Okay, ABR, ASBR. Okay, we are going to do summarization on ABR, ASBR, and we'll see also authentication. So once we complete this section, then we will move to OSPF area stub types. So it's a good topic called stub areas, OSPF stub areas. We have stub areas in EIGRP also, but this stub area is little different than EIGRP. Okay, so totally stub area, NSSA, okay, stub area, totally stub area. We'll discuss about that. There is a P bit in NSSA. We'll discuss about that. There is I bit, M bit, MS bit in OSPF. Okay, there are a lot of small things which we will be focused on. Okay, so redistribution in OSPF, how we can configure redistribution, how you can send EIGRP routes in OSPF, how you can send static routes in OSPF, how you can send the directly connected networks in OSPF. And then we will discuss about virtual link. Okay, the spelling has an error. Virtual link configure करेंगे हम यहाँ पे. And also we are going to discuss about little bit of BFD, because BFD is a protocol which is used in companies, even though it's not part of your syllabus if you are taking my CCNP, but still we'll discuss about BFD. Okay, so this is how we are going to end up with OSPF, and it will take around 4 to 5 sessions or more than that. Means 15 hours we are only going to learn 12 to 15 hours of OSPF. Means this month is fully dedicated to OSPF, and maybe the first week or second week can be taken by OSPF also. Okay, we will not rush. I'm sure you are not here to just rush and just to complete the topics in just maybe within a month, right? So we are here to learn, and even if it will take 2 weeks extra or 1 week extra, it should not impact us. Okay, so once we complete OSPF, then we will discuss about BGP. So BGP is very big protocol over the internet. Okay, so if you have CCNA knowledge, then definitely you can start by learning OSPF BGP MPLS. Okay, so means what is the eligibility to join this batch? If you are a CCNA candidate, you guys can join that. Okay, so also if your friends, guys, those who already joined my CCNP, if you feel like you want to refer, like you can refer this batch to those guys. Okay, so we'll discuss about BGP, how we are going to configure BGP, and additionally, how many labs we are going to do for this OSPF. तो हम कितने labs करने वाले हैं? Let me show you in BGP. Okay, so already I have shared a lab guide, which is very basic lab. Okay, this is obviously we have to complete because this is very basic labs. Okay, so this is OSPF lab guide. So we'll discuss about OSPF, like OSPF authentication, how we are going to configure, and then we'll discuss about passive interface. Okay, lab number 14, then OSPF DR/BDR lab. Okay, then we'll discuss about this lab, which is hello and dead intervals. We will change the timers of OSPF and all. Okay, then we'll discuss about summarization. Then we'll discuss about stub areas and all. So these are the things, but this is very small labs. Okay, this is just to brush up your knowledge. तो ये जो मैं आपको lab दिखा रहा हूँ ना, so these labs are not going to be just for OSPF. We will be going to do big labs. Okay, we'll discuss about all the theory. Okay, we will also discuss like OSPF in basic, like what is the AD value in Juniper. Obviously, we are not going to configure in Juniper. Okay, but yes, we will be discussing about the theory of little bit, because what is the AD value in Juniper? What is the AD value OSPF of OSPF in HP and Huawei? Okay, we'll discuss about OSPF theory. Okay, algorithms. And now you can see this is a screenshot where we will discuss about Palo Alto firewall, like why OSPF is configured in your companies. Okay, because a lot of devices like firewalls like Palo Alto, Checkpoint, they run OSPF. And if you want to share your core switch routes, because in companies you are going to have core switch or maybe a router, how you are going to forward your routes with the Palo Alto firewall. Okay, so we'll discuss about a lot of things, guys. We'll discuss about the OSPF design things also, like what all three things OSPF takes. So these topics, these things I have not taken from CCNP. So this design is taken from one certification, which is called Cisco design. If you heard about, there is a Cisco certification. Have you heard about that? CCDE, Cisco Certified Design Expert. CCIE सुना है? Most of you heard about CCIE. There is a CCDE, Design Expert, and earlier there was a certification called CCDP, Design Professional. Like CCNP is Network Professional. So we have taken the notes from that OSPF. Okay, how we can design the OSPF very well, where we will configure area 0, because most of you have this question in companies where we configure OSPF area 0, right? So if you have 100 plus locations, then where you going to configure OSPF? So this is the theory part, and then we'll discuss about all the theory about how many packets are there. Hello, DBD, LSR, LSU, LSAC, down in a two-way, start exchange loading full. Okay, so this is going to be the OSPF, and there are big labs also. It's not just the labs are the small ones. We will be going to do some big labs also. Let me show you. So this is my stub lab. Okay, so this is like almost a 10, 12 8 to 12 routers. Okay, so this is what we are going to learn for OSPF stub areas. This is area 0, why we configure stub, how we configure stub. Okay, all these things will be discussed step by step. Also, we'll see the captures of Wireshark. Okay, that what is this NSSA bit? Okay, I told you there are some bits which you need to understand. So we'll discuss about these bits also. Okay, like there is a bit called P bit, as I told you, E bit also there. Okay, like if you configure stub, there is a E bit. Okay, E bit in OSPF. तो कई बार इंटरव्यू में ऐसे क्वेश्चन पूछ लेते हैं, तुमने सुने भी नहीं होंगे. Okay, so some of you have not, because when you give a lot of interviews, then you understand, okay, this is very important. Because companies are looking for superhumans nowadays. So we need to be Superman, right? We can't be a normal average guy. So if we want to crack good company interviews. Okay, so ABR, ASBR, like there are a lot of things in OSPF, but the most important part I would say is OSPF, and BGP is equally important. But BGP is important when you are good at OSPF. तो अगर आपको OSPF बहुत अच्छे से आता है, if you are very good at OSPF, then the BGP is going to work for you. If you only learn BGP, then it is not going to help you, because I have never seen a company is taking BGP interview without OSPF. Have you seen that? You feel like companies will ask you directly BGP? Maybe Facebook will ask, because their server got down few months back, if you remember, with the DNS issue, right? जब आज तक पे भी आ रहा था, there is in India news TV channels, they were discussing what is BGP. You guys can check. Okay, so we'll discuss about BGP, what is AS number, how we get AS number. There is a 4-byte AS number. Okay, lot of theory is there inside BGP. Why we configure BGP? तो BGP चलाते क्यों है यही नहीं पता. Okay, काफी लोगों को. So we need to understand why we configure BGP. Okay, so why I'm good at OSPF BGP? Because if you see my experience, I'm just sharing if anybody does not know. Already, maybe you have seen my companies or where I have worked, but if you check my job description where I have worked, okay, you will understand my complete background was into OSPF, BGP, IS, these kind of networks. Okay, so this is me, and here are my certification. And if you see here, so I started with this company called Arisent. Okay, it's not, you see all experiences. So from here, I started my career, Arisent, which is now Capgemini. My first job was to provision the circuits of, and I was actually, as a fresher, I was configuring BGP MPLS. Okay, even a few days back, I just posted on LinkedIn. As a fresher, I got to work on OSPF BGP so early. I was very lucky, maybe. Okay, that somebody, because at that time I was CCNP certified and I got a direct L2 position. I never worked in L1 position, guys. मैंने direct L2 से start किया था. I started directly from L2 job. Okay, because I was CCNP certified, and maybe companies just maybe that way I got L2 position. Means I got a network engineer position. I never got associate network engineer. Okay, so there I worked for OSPF, BGP, MPLS, BFD, quality of service. So as a fresher, if you work in these things, like, it is very difficult for me to understand. And I worked there for almost a lot of time, 4 to 5 years. And I actually excelled my OSPF, BGP very well. And at that time, from 2011, I am also teaching people. So when you train and when you work, so that is a deadly combination. This is why I'm here. Okay, sorry, I'm just saying good things about me, but it's part of my job. Okay, so after that, I worked for TCS. There, I worked for CCNA, CCNP firewalls and all, not too much OSPF and all, but I worked for like a lot of LAN configuration. Then I worked for Apple. Okay, there also I configured OSPF and BGP, but most of them, like, not the configuration, most of them was troubleshooting steps. And then I worked for advanced stack engineer at Juniper Networks, where I was handling the clients like PayPal, Sri Lanka Telecom, Facebook. All these companies are clients of Juniper Network. So I was working with them. Okay, then I with networkings full time. Okay, still we help many companies when they ask for. Okay, but we charge a lot. So this is why. But yes, we do get consultancy jobs. Like recently, we deployed a company network IPsec in AWS also. Okay, me and my few 2-3 guys who are working as a freelancer with me. So we are still working as an engineer also. It's not that I am only working for only for training, right? Because I want to update myself. Because technology is something, if you keep teaching, you will teach the same concepts what you have learned previously. But how I am going to update myself? Okay, so we need to work. And this is why we still take some projects, not too many, but enough for us to get highly paid work. Okay, so we'll discuss about BGP states like idle connect. If you worked in companies, you have seen how active, open, all these states work. Like If you do not know, we'll discuss about all these states. Okay. Do the students get these documents? Obviously, Tausif. So these notes are for students only. Okay, so I'm not creating any repository here for myself only. Okay, so we'll discuss about BGP split horizon rule, which is very important. So means lot of things about BGP. Will spend almost 1 month only on BGP. Okay, approx I think we are going to spend 20 hours, 15 to 20 hours, minimum 15 and maximum 20 on BGP only. Okay, I know you guys have joined this batch by thinking that we will finish in 2 months or 3 months. I do not actually regret if I extend, right? I always regret if I left something. So it's better to go with the flow. And then we'll discuss about MPLS also. Okay, we'll discuss about MPLS also because MPLS is one of the major topic. And we'll discuss about MPLS theory. And we will be going to cover L3 VPN. So L2 VPN is also there, but we are not covering in this batch. So those who want to learn L2 VPN, segment routing, okay, VPLS, ISIS protocol, if you guys want to learn the complete service provider network, okay, then there are service provider videos available on our portal. You guys can discuss with the team. If you want to learn more about service provider, up to CCI service provider knowledge, we have the content. Okay, so all these things will be shared. And as I mentioned, okay, so this is going to be the content. Okay, so this brochure we will be adding, okay, BGP attributes. We will be discussing about attributes and MPLS L3 VPN as I mentioned. Okay, so let me. Okay, so I just want to ask you guys, motivated again after EAGRP? Yes, Arjit, Faz,
Yes, sir.
Nilesh, feel like
Yes.
now we are going to do something great.
Yes,
Because in EAGRP, you guys
Yes,
actually
sir.
EAGRP is good protocol, but again, if nobody is asking you in interviews, it feels like we are not doing. I hope you understand, right? It's a good topic, but OSPF BGP is like the best topics for network engineers. Okay, चलें फिर शुरू करें.
Yes, sir.
सिद्धार्थ, you look like technical गुरुजी today. कहाँ चला गया? चलिए शुरू करते हैं. Okay. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so let me share my another screen, my pen tablet screen. Guys, is it visible? White screen?
Yes,
दिख रही
sir.
है सभी को?
yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Visible.
sir. Visible.
Yes, sir.
Visible.
Okay, okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
सर रिकॉर्ड हो रहा है ना?
ना हो नहीं रहा. Yeah, it's recording. Recording is on. Okay, so here we are going to discuss about OSPF. Let me know, guys, if you feel like screen is not visible, but if it, okay. Okay, so let's start. So OSPF, right? You guys can see what I'm writing, right? OSPF. दिख रहा है ना?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes.
Yes, sir. दिख
Okay,
रहा है.
okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Turn off your mics. Okay. Okay, so OSPF stands for Open Shortest Path First. Okay, so also this protocol is a link state protocol. Which protocol? Link state protocol. So link state protocol means we are going to maintain the database of all the links. Link and the state means OSPF is going to create a big database, and where we are going to store the information of all links. Okay, like 10.1.1.1, 20.1.1.1, 30.1. So all the links information will be stored in the database table, and we are also going to maintain the state of all the links. This is why it is called link state protocol. And can we configure OSPF on Cisco devices? Obviously, yes. Can we configure OSPF on Juniper devices? Yes. Can we configure on HP, Huawei, Nokia, Alcatel, whatever companies are manufacturing the routers? Most of them, like, they support OSPF. Means this protocol is an open standard. This protocol is an open standard protocol. And the AD value of this protocol is 110 in Cisco. In Cisco. If you talk about Juniper, okay, if you talk about Juniper, Juniper has a route preference value. Okay. In Juniper, we call this AD value as a route preference, and AD values are, or route preference values are 10 and 150. 10 for internal routes, 150 for external routes. That's for Juniper. And if you talk about HP and what we call Huawei, HP and Huawei, both from H. Okay, Huawei from China. Okay, so their route preference value is 10. Okay, so maybe if you get a chance to work for Huawei, HP, or Juniper, you should at least learn the route preference values, nothing more, because concept remains the same. Okay, so what OSPF के तीन process हैं. OSPF has three concepts. One is called a neighbor discovery. Okay, sorry about my writing. If you neighbor discovery. Okay, after that we have link state information exchange. Link state information exchange. Okay, first we are going to become the neighbors. Then we are going to exchange the link state information with each other. And the third thing, what we are going to do, we are going to do the best path collection, best path calculation. Okay, तो OSPF तीन काम करता है. There are three things what OSPF is responsible for. Okay, if anybody asks what is OSPF, if you give this answer, highly chance that the person is going to understand. Okay, we should be very unique when we are giving interviews. Okay, if you say the same lines what everybody is saying, so you are not going to be different, right? Companies are hiring different people, knowledgeable people, right? Those who have more knowledge. So you need to showcase your knowledge in interviews, right? समझ आ रहा है? तो आपको इंटरव्यू में ना बढ़ा चढ़ा के दिखाना है अपने आप को, समझो. Okay, you need to show your knowledge in such a way that people understand, yes, this guy has a knowledge. If you just say simple lines, because I have taken a lot of interviews and guys are saying, hello sir, OSP. Okay, if I ask OSPF, they like first they like think a lot, and then they say OSPF is open shortest path first, AD value 110. Even the candidates are not completing the lines. Okay, OSPF has 3 tables, OSPF 5 packets. Okay, means get some vocabulary. आपको टेक्निकल वोकैबुलरी बढ़ाना पड़ेगा. You need to improve your technical vocabulary so that you can answer well. Because if you just remember the main points, AD value, open standard, link state, this is everybody saying in interviews. ये सारे लोग बोल रहे हैं इंटरव्यू में. Even the guys who are learning from local centers. So what is your take on this? Okay, so you need to be very, like, if you learn this, what is OSPF? OSPF is a link state protocol. It is open standard, and the OSPF is, just say this line, OSPF is responsible for neighbor discovery, link state information exchange, and calculate the best paths. Don't you feel like it's good one to answer?
Yes,
Right? Okay, after that, so this is how you can define OSPF, and after that, guys, I would say, like, OSPF, then you can discuss about OSPF is using one algorithm which is called SPF algorithm. Which algorithm? SPF algorithm, and SPF stand for shortest path first. And this algorithm is also known as Dijkstra algorithm. Okay, which algorithm? Dijkstra algorithm. So Dijkstra is the scientist who created SPF, not OSPF. Because maybe somebody will ask you this thing. Okay, OSPF, who made OSPF? John T. Moy. Okay, Dijkstra created this algorithm SPF, but OSPF is made by John T. Moy. तो ये बंदा है जिसने OSPF बनाया. Okay, John T. Moy. Okay, so SPF is made by Dijkstra. So Dijkstra is a scientist who created this algorithm, and John T. Moy used this algorithm to create OSPF. Okay, it means OSPF is created by Dijkstra indirectly, but directly from John T. Moy. OSPF is used in IPv4, yes. OSPF used in IPv4, and also nowadays it uses in IPv6 also. Okay, so both in IPv4, both in IPv6, both are, you can configure OSPF in IPv4 and IPv6. Okay, so OSPF is developed by John T. Moy, but under one organization which is IETF. तो ये बनाया किसने था? IETF, because John T. Moy is the person but working for IETF, and this is Internet Engineering Task Force. Internet Engineering Task Force. So whatever lines I'm saying, maybe somebody will not ask you these things in interviews. This is just for your knowledge. कोई नहीं पूछने वाला है IETF ने बनाया किसने बनाया. I'm just honest with you guys. Okay, maybe they will ask AD value, they will ask about multicast address, or maybe on which algorithm OSPF works. Okay, because maybe they even don't know who is John T. Moy, those guys who are taking interviews. Trust me, you are the first ones who are going to ask this. So OSPF is widely deployed in enterprise network. In fact, OSPF is configured in enterprise. OSPF is widely configured in enterprise networks. Enterprise means the company's networks. Then what ISPs are using? ISPs are using the brother of OSPF, which is ISIS. Most of them, many ISPs are also using OSPF also. But if you learn OSPF, you can easily learn ISIS, because 90% theory of ISIS is similar to OSPF. It has DR, BDR. Okay, there are concept of indirectly, it doesn't have ABR, DBR. It has some L1, L2 routers. Okay, we'll see. Okay, so OSPF is configured in enterprise network, where ISIS is configured in service provider networks. Service provider networks. Okay. Guys, are you able to understand my writing? Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Because I told you initially I
Yes,
wanted
sir.
to become a doctor, but I mistakenly became a network engineer.
No, sir. It's
Okay.
understandable.
Okay. So now if you see, so where we configure why OSPF is used in enterprise networks, why it is so popular, just to try to understand such a way, like if you configure any company network, suppose you got the internet connection. This is your internet connection. This is internet, right?
So this IS is neighboring, like it is used to find neighbors node, right?
No. Yeah, it's kind of, but it's a different protocol which work on NSAP. Okay, we'll see. Let's focus on OSPF.
Okay, because in
Okay,
Geo we do it on ISIS to ISIS neighbor. Then we see the BDI bridge domain interfacing.
yeah, bridge domain interface. Yeah, bridge domain interface. Correct. So we'll see. Focus. Let's focus here. Okay, so suppose you got an internet connection and this cable is coming in your office, and what you did here, you configured a device here, like you deploy a device like Palo Alto. So Palo Alto firewall. Okay, so multiple ports are there. So this device is used for security. Everybody knows what is firewall. Okay, so this is a Palo Alto firewall. Okay, let's give the blue color. Okay, because Palo Alto is little blue. Okay, so this is our Palo Alto firewall, and Palo Alto firewall is helping you so that no one from the internet can attack your company. This is why we use firewalls. Everybody understand? Firewall is used so that you can prevent from your outside attacks, right? So now tell me, this is important for your company or not? If you have company, you will definitely, most of you have some servers in your company and they are connected with your LAN network, or maybe in your server room, you have servers. Okay, so then you have some LAN users in your office. Okay, so these devices are further connected. Okay, so these switches are further connected to maybe core switches, right? So you have core switches, and these layers, these switches are called access switches. Okay, where you connect all your servers. Okay, so these are your machines, right? And core switches further connected to maybe Palo Alto. Maybe, yeah, most of you guys connect like this. Okay, and if you need, maybe you can deploy a router also instead of core switch. So this is the normal design of most of the companies. Okay, maybe there is a router also sometimes, because if you want to configure a few things, but Palo Alto can do routing as well. Palo Alto can do NAT also. So instead of using a Cisco router, many companies are using a firewall also, because firewall is capable of running OSPF. Firewall can protect your companies, can provide security. Firewall can also do NAT. And most of you are getting internet connection in the form of copper cables and fiber cables. And these cables are also supported by firewalls nowadays. Like you can deploy a fiber cable, you can use SFP and all, and you can put in the Palo Alto firewall. So router की need ही नहीं है. Why you want firewall? Okay, so sorry, why you need a router? Tell me. If you can deploy, if you can buy a Palo Alto firewall, I don't feel like you need a router. You can create VPN tunnels. You can connect your branch offices, head offices over firewall to firewall VPN connectivity. Then why we use Palo Alto here? Obviously, you got to know a lot of reasons. We can do routing so that you can connect your branch office, head office, and all. We can put a security, we can configure NAT, we can configure VPN tunnels. You can do a lot of stuff with the Palo Alto firewall, this is why it's one of the best firewall in the world. I would encourage all of you after CCNP, go for Palo Alto or FortiGate. Okay, because they are game changer firewalls. Every network engineer should learn Palo Alto, FortiGate. Of course, within their 2-3 years of experience. You should not take too much time, because the future is all about cloud security. And Palo Alto is deployed in AWS also. Just to inform you. Palo Alto बहुत ज़्यादा AWS में use हो रहा है. Palo Alto, FortiGate, these firewalls are getting deployed in AWS also. Because see, cloud is not taking many people. They are thinking कि cloud आ गया ना, networking गया. Many people are thinking because of cloud now networking is no more. Now tell me, do you think these machines will go in cloud? Your employees will go in cloud? Will you open your mobile and access your laptops from AWS? Or companies will still give you laptop? Still, right? And most of companies are still, they are not ready to do for, like, they will not come 100%, they will go for work from home. Yes or no? Like, do you think companies will go 100% work from home?
No, sir, hybrid.
Hybrid will work, maybe 2 days, 2 days, 3 days, they will ask you for office. Okay. But most of them, they are not fully ready. Maybe in future, like when they will metaverse meetings are there, then they will do like that. But companies still need company networks to give space to their employees to come and work, right? Means they still need LAN networks in their office. They still, maybe they do not need these Palo Alto and all these in your office, because all your servers, because why we need security? Because of our servers. In computers, we can have antivirus systems like McAfee and all, endpoint security. Computers need endpoint security, right? So this is a different level of security. Like if you heard about McAfee or Symantec, so they have antivirus is a endpoint security. Like, so, but in servers, because nobody can attack my servers, this is why we are deploying Palo Alto. But in cloud, what will happen? This Palo Alto firewall and my cloud servers, these servers will go in cloud. Okay, just I'll explain another diagram. Let's focus on OSPF only. So why, when we configure Palo Alto, and just imagine if you have 50 plus branches like this in all over the world. If you have 50 plus branches, maybe in Dubai, Singapore, okay, London, okay, whatever locations you have. So all your 50 offices are connected maybe with the VPN tunnels, right? Yeah. So maybe you are going to have around 40-50 Palo Alto devices, and you can configure all Palo Alto firewalls from their SD-WAN solution, which is called Panorama. You can configure all Palo Alto firewalls from Panorama. Okay, this is new for all. Okay, most of you maybe you never heard about this. So this is like SD-WAN solution little bit, so that you can manage all your Palo Alto. Just imagine if you have 50 branches, then how many firewalls you will have? 50. Then how you manage all 50 firewalls? You manage all firewalls from Panorama. Okay, so this is the thing. So what, how these firewalls, they still need routing. They still need routing, yes or no? If you have 50 routers, do you think you need routing? Obviously, yes. So what they are going to configure inside their connectivity, most of them, they are going to maybe use OSPF. Maybe some of your branches, they are not highly secure. Maybe 10 branches, they are using only Cisco routers, not firewalls. Because maybe you do not need security that time. तो हो सकता है 50 में से 10 branches में आप Cisco router लगा रहे हो. So when you have multi-vendor, what I'm trying to explain with this diagram, if you have a multi-vendor environment, if you have multi-vendor environment, then what comes? Open standard protocols. So क्या use होगा तब? Then we are going to use open standard protocols. We will not use EIGRP here because Palo Alto cannot understand EIGRP. So if you have a device like Palo Alto, then you have a device like Cisco, and maybe there is a device like F5 load balancer. Okay, there are a lot of multi-vendor products in the market. If you heard about F5 load balancer, if you heard about Palo Alto, so how they are going to forward the routes to each other? They are going to run OSPF, or you can run BGP also. But BGP is a very big protocol. I don't feel like you should configure BGP inside the internal network. There are some cases where we configure BGP internal network. That is only when we want to play with BGP. तो BGP internal में कब use होता है? Why we use BGP in internal network? When we want to tweak the BGP, when we want to manipulate the traffic, that I want to get my incoming traffic from this side, I want to get my outside traffic from this side. Then only you configure BGP in your internal network, else hardly you configure BGP. Okay, means most of the times, 99% of the times, okay, if you are using open multi-vendor environment, you are going to use OSPF. Okay, because the RIP protocol is there, but RIP has a problem. You can go up to only 16 routers in RIP. But in OSPF, you can go for unlimited routers, guys, unlimited. There is no limit. But obviously, we cannot connect all the routers together. Unlimited router does not mean just you connect all 10,000 routers with each other. There should be a plan, there should be a design, because OSPF is highly CPU intensive. OSPF जो है ना, OSPF is highly CPU intensive. Highly CPU intensive, highly memory intensive. Okay. So these are the things, and so we'll discuss about those things. And bandwidth, obviously, because it is going to generate a lot of things. So we need to make sure highly consumption of bandwidth, because you send a lot of packets in OSPF. So CPU, memory or bandwidth ka dushman hai. If you do not configure this very well, so like CPU, memory, bandwidth, OSPF is a big enemy of these three things: CPU, memory, and bandwidth. If you do not configure OSPF very well in your company environment. Clear, everyone? Yes, I'm not getting
Yes,
any
sir.
acknowledgement.
Yes, sir.
Don't be like.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Got it.
Okay.
Yes,
Great.
sir.
Now, do not acknowledge everyone, guys. Sabhi nahi karo. My CPU memory bandwidth is getting impacted. If you all acknowledge me. Okay. So
Sir, one question though, if it's fine.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sir,
Go ahead.
I didn't get the point why we are not using Palo Alto then a lot. Like if it does all the things that a router does,
It's-
then why?
Is Palo Alto is 10 to 20 times costly than Cisco router.
Okay.
Now you got the point?
Mhm.
This is why everyone drives Hyundai, not Mercedes. Right? Even obviously everybody knows Mercedes, BMW, they are like best cars. But still many companies go for Hyundai, Maruti, Suzuki, right? Tata, Mahindra, obviously. They are getting popular. Okay, so obviously the costly things are limited in nature. Yes, everybody agrees? Costly things are limited. Silver is costly or gold?
Gold.
Why?
Because it's a limited.
Yes,
It's rare.
I hope you got the point. Okay, so Palo Alto is limited because of the cost. If they reduce the cost, then definitely this is why FortiGate is getting very popular. FortiGate
In
firewall.
small business
Yeah.
में
No, medium also. Small and medium both.
small और
companies.
medium के लिए high के लिए तो Palo Alto ही जाता है.
Medium and small FortiGate, medium and big companies Palo Alto.
ये हाँ.
Okay. See, FortiGate, it does not say that I am only for small companies. They can go for small, medium, and even big companies are also using FortiGate. It's not like that. But small, medium, FortiGate. Okay, even a big company but does not have budget, they will still go with FortiGate. There is another vendor in the market, Checkpoint. Checkpoint is also a good firewall. Okay. Made in Europe, I think. FortiGate, Checkpoint, okay, Palo Alto. They are top 3 firewalls in the market today. Cisco is not able to beat them. Even Cisco made FTD, firewall threat defense. which is like Palo Alto, like Checkpoint. But I think depends on their update. Sometimes FortiGate has a good update. Sometimes Checkpoint has update, but Palo Alto always winner because of a lot of features. They are doing a lot of research. Okay. Highly paid jobs are also in Palo Alto if you get into Palo Alto. Okay. Means this is what I know. Okay. So now let's talk about OSPF. OSPF version 1. Okay. OSPF initially, like they started a version 1. Okay. So, but it is the research paper is RFC 1131, I think. Yeah, 1131. Okay, after that, guys, like OSPF version 2 came into the picture. Okay, there was, because every time we upgrade, the RFC changes. RFC stand for request for comment. Request for comment. This is called research paper, basically, in short. Request for comment is like a research paper which is called RFCs. Okay. So OSPF version 2 came into the picture with RFC 1247. Why I'm giving you all this number? You do not have to remember these numbers, right? I'm just sharing so that when you get time, you guys can refer, go and check what is inside the research papers. Okay. Maybe in life, maybe if you get stuck in any OSPF problem which nobody is helping you, then you can go for those things.
Sir, it is like the EIGRP, classic version, name version, or something else like
No.
OSPF
Version 1 is just updated with version 2. Everybody is using version 2. Version 1 is not there now. It's completely all updated with version 2. So now we have version 3, which is for OSPF version 3, which is IPv6. So in simple words, OSPF version 2 is for IPv4 and OSPF version 3 is for IPv6. Clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
great.
So IPv6 is this is last version, OSPF 3 till date 9.
Yeah, this is the version 3 is the obviously updated version, but I don't feel like IPv4 will be vanished in future also. Still, we are going to use for next almost maybe 20, 30, maybe more than years. Because IPv4 can convert into IPv6 because we are shortage of public IPs, not private IPs. Private IPs are free. When the things are free, then I don't feel like there is a shortage, right? Private IPs are free in nature. We are converting private IPs into public IPs by which concept? Private to public NAT.
Networking.
Yes. Okay, so guys, just wanted to check what is the biggest protocol on internet today?
BGP.
BGP,
sir.
BGP.
I'm not talking about routing protocol. Listen the questions
MPLS.
properly. MPLS is not a routing protocol.
Cabling switch.
TCP sir.
Array, IP. IP is the biggest protocol. IP is the biggest, na? Your all MPLS or everything mostly like they are on IP. Your computer is on IP, my laptop is on IP, your mobile phone is IP, your neighbor IP, your neighbor computers are on IP. Everyone is on IP called Internet Protocol. Yes?
Yes, sir.
So TCP, UDP works under IP or they work above IP?
Under
Okay,
IP.
tell. Okay, what do you know? ICMP, Suna?
Yes, sir. Ping ka protocol. Control message protocol.
Ravi, Khushal, Hitesh, mic off, please. Yeah, actually, a lot of background noise. Okay, ICMP. Okay. So then we have another protocol TCP. Then we have UDP. Then we already covered EIGRP. Okay, but OSPF. So under IP protocol, there in the internet protocol header, if you go and check internet protocol header, have you heard about IP header? IP header has a different format, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Header 48.
Suna hai na IP header? Okay,
Yes,
so I have already uploaded IPv4 video on YouTube. You guys can check that. Okay, if you need more detail, let me know. I will upload one video because I covered recently in one of the batch. Okay. Okay, so in IP header, because I'm just looking at the image so that I can take a reference. Okay, so first of all, if you see IP header, okay, so just hold on. Yeah, so guys, you can see the picture of IP header. Yes, everyone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, visible.
So what do you see here? This is called IP header. So inside IP header, like version is basically if you are using version 4 or version 6. Okay, header length tells the size of the header, which goes up to around 20 bytes to 60 bytes. I'm just giving you idea. So this is used for quality of service. Okay, service type, which is called type of service. Total length. This is the total length of my header plus data. Data plus header, because this is 20 to 60 byte is a header. Total length can go up to 1500 bytes. The total length of the packet is called total length. Okay, then the identification is there, like sequence number hota hai. Okay, it's like the same. If you have multiple packets, then there is a sequence number which is used for identification. Flags are there, which are called don't fragment, more fragment. Okay, there is an offset here also, so that what packets you want to put in the buffer and all. So this is the main field here. Source IP, destination IP. Okay, options and padding are used to data delivery. Okay, I'll share one video. Already it's there in the YouTube also. You guys can check IP header networkings. You will get to know. And I have more elaborated video that I'll share with you guys. Don't worry.
Sir, can you repeat for the flags, please?
Yeah, Kushal, I'm not getting your voice. क्या कह रहे हो?
Sir, can you repeat, please? Flags. Flags.
Okay, flags.
Sir,
Yeah.
flags.
See, by default, when you forward your packets to another machine, okay, sometimes the data, you want to divide the data into multiple IP packets. Okay, so when you divide the packets, then this is called fragment. So if these are 3 packets coming, okay, so the data is divided into 3 parts. So when the first packet will go, tell me more packets are coming after that. इसके बाद और पैकेट आ रहे हैं ना?
Yes, sir.
So first packet goes, it will say more fragment is equal to 1, means there are more packets available. Okay, so then in second packet also more fragment is also 1. The third, it says the third packet is still remaining. After third is the last packet, so more fragment will be 0 here. Okay, so when you divide the packet, okay, and if multiple segments are there, so more fragment only tells the device that there are a lot of other packets coming after me. तो यानी इसके बाद और भी पैकेट्स आ रहे हैं, इसीलिए मोर फ्रैगमेंट यूज होता है. Then don't fragment when you do not divide the packet, you just send the data. Okay, without dividing your packet and all. Okay, you do not do the fragmentation, then the DF value is always 1. Okay,
Sir,
I've
it is
already
like, yeah. Sir, it's,
I think this is a OSPF class. I'm just giving an idea. So I think we should stick to OSPF. This is already covered in my other classes. Okay, I'll share this video with all of you. Okay, after watching, if you get any problem, then you guys can discuss that. I'm just here to explain in IP header, there is a protocol field. हम इसलिए आए हैं यहाँ पे. I'm just showing you that there is a protocol field. So in IP packet, there is a protocol field. If you are sending ICMP, this protocol value will be 1. If you are using TCP, the protocol number is 6. The UDP is 17. The EIGRP is 88 and OSPF is 89. So this is why I want to tell you OSPF protocol number is 89. This is why we are here. Okay, so coming back to the OSPF. So let's discuss about OSPF further. Guys, if you don't mind, we'll go for 5 minutes break. Yeah, what do you think?
Sure, sir, we can.
Sure, sir.
Okay, okay.
Sure, sir.
Okay, sir.
Hello, everyone. Sorry. Okay, so let's start again. Okay, so I think packets and states will discuss later on. Let's do a small lab. What do you think, guys? एक छोटी सी lab कर ले? Okay, so that theory will be little boring. Yeah. But obviously interviews are from theory concepts. Lab obviously help you to understand theory like more clearly. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen. Okay, so let's do a lab. So obviously you all have the lab access. Okay, so when you open the lab, and I'm going to show you a small lab today, not the big one today. तो एक छोटी सी lab करते हैं. Let's start from. So I'm sure you have this PDF with all of you. You have this PDF. Okay, so we'll start. So when you open this, come to the OSPF section. तो सभी लोगों को OSPF पे आ जाना है. Okay, so after that, there is a lab 12. Okay, so first we are going to do, okay, like normal OSPF configuration. So what I'll do here, normal basic OSPF configuration. Okay, then we'll discuss about authentication. I think we can cover later on. So let's do a lab. So I think I already have there. This is CCNP routing, and then find OSPF. See, you guys can see there are a lot of labs. Even I have given you option to configure Cisco with Juniper also. Obviously, we are not like, I think I have already created one video. There is one video in Juniper basics. So if you want, I have given you Cisco and Juniper lab also, where you can configure a Juniper router and Cisco router. Okay, that's already you have. Okay, आप सभी के पास ये already है. Okay, so OSPF packets stub. Okay, so this lab is good. I think we can start from here. And there are 4 routers, guys. You can see R1. Please check the green area. Okay, so we are going to discuss, we will configure this green area today. Okay, not the other areas, because today we are going to just focus on the area 0. Okay, so R1, R2, R3, R4, you guys can zoom in. So this is going to be the lab, and start the lab. Name was OSPF multi-area. So this lab का नाम क्या है? The name of this lab is OSPF multi-area. So just enable the device. I'm sure you guys have. Okay, so my 4 routers are almost started, R1, R2, R3, R4. Okay, so R1, R2, R3, R4. R2 is not turning on. Let's start again. Okay, there is some problem with the router, maybe. Okay. Okay, let's try to wipe. Let's try. Okay, there is some problem. If you get this type of issue, so like you guys can report to support team, because sometimes one of the port number of the router gets blocked sometime. Okay, I have another lab also. I'll go with another server. Okay, I have the same lab here also, multi-area. Yeah, Cisco multi-area lab maybe. हाँ ये रही lab एक और same lab है. Okay, but that's in different server. I think let's try to check here in this server. Okay, now the 4 routers are okay, right? Okay, so the green area is here. Let me change. Okay, so R1. Okay, R2. So when you click on the routers, you will get to have the consoles of all 4 routers. Okay, and just to select all the tabs, control shift the okay, press shift, select all the tabs and just drag it out. And it is going to be like console for you. This is how you get lab access of networkings. R1, R2, R3, R4. So let's go to R1, R2, R3, R4. Okay, so just wanted to check, guys. Is it visible? Everything is visible. My voice is clear so that we can start lab. ठीक है, सभी को दिख रहा है? Okay, great. So this is my first router, router 1, router 2, router 3, and router 4. So whenever you configure any configuration in companies, even though you are expert, even you have 20 years networking experience, but still you are not going to write the commands directly in the routers. You will always use Notepad. Okay, because first we plan, then we configure. आप कितने ही बड़े engineer हो, okay, you always have to use Notepad for your configurations, and then you verify configuration, get the approval from your seniors if you are at L1 or L2 position, then you configure the things. Okay, so let's configure R1. So we have R1, then we have R2, then we have R3, then we have R4. So these are the 4 routers which we are going to configure. So let's start with R1. So first we are going to enable the router. This is the command to enter into privilege mode. ठीक है, तो सबसे पहली command किस लिए है? First command is to get into privilege mode. After that I go to config T. After that you change the device name, host name R1. Okay, for your labs I would recommend you, okay, go to the line console port, line console 0, and give this command also exact timeout 00. Because sometimes what happens, if you do not do anything on your routers, they automatically log out. They go to the user mode and all. Okay, so ये आपका session कभी भी log out नहीं होगा router का. Only for labs you guys can give this exact timeout. Okay, and then you can set banner MOTD also. Banner MOTD, message of the day. You can enter your message like R1. Okay, so networkings, router 1, okay, North India, whatever. In companies you have seen some message. So that is the similar thing. Okay, and now we are done with basic tweaks. You can also give this command no IP domain lookup so that whenever you enter a wrong thing in labs, okay, जब भी आप गलत command type कर देते हो, if you type a wrong command, your router will not send anything on 255. Okay, so that's it. And let's give IP addresses on FA00. I'm going to assign IP address 192.168.12.1 because this is my router 1. By default /value/24. Interface FA01 is 13.1. This is 13.1. This is 12.1. So what we can do, we can copy from here and paste. Okay. So this is going to be 13.1. Okay. 13, 12.1, 13.1. So this is it. Okay. So let's configure this now. R1 is ready. You guys can copy paste also, but you guys can type also. Okay, so this is enable config T, host name router 1, line console 0. Okay, give exact timeout. Yeah, so there is a hyphen in the command, by the way, 00 means 0 minutes 0 seconds. Okay, so after that you do exit here, banner MOTD, hash, enter your message like network Kings R1 North India. Okay. Okay, so just press the hash again and enter. So it means whenever you log in into your router is going to display a message on the starting banner MOTD message of the day, banner message of the day, and no IP domain lookup. So this is the command. So whenever you type any wrong command, it will not send to anywhere. Because I hope you get any trouble also earlier. तो जब भी आप गलत टाइप करते हो तो 255 पे जाता है. It send on 255. It try to resolve the DNS. So whenever you are in labs, you guys can give no IP domain lookup. So let's go and configure FA00 IP address 192.168.12.1. Okay, no shutdown. Interface FA01 IP address 192.168.13.1. So if you have the speed, you guys can directly type from notepad, else copy paste. Okay, so let's do on R2 only. We need to change here this. Okay, and here I have to give one exit. That would be better. Okay, yeah, so let's copy paste here because we want to configure for router 2. So router 2 configure karna. I'm going to copy paste this configuration and paste in R2. So host name is going to be R2. Banner MOTD is going to be R2. Rest FA00 is going to be 12.2 because this is router 2. I'm using 22 in the last octet. FA01 is 24.2. 24.2 because this is router 2. So all my IPs are going to be 2 in the last. Okay. So 24.2. So I'm going to copy here. Okay, this is what we can copy paste in router 2. Control Alt. Okay, so rest all the things are copied in router 2. So router 2 is configured. Let's configure router 3. So router 3 is almost similar. Again, we have router 3 here. Okay, networking's router 3. Banner MOTD FA00 is 34.3. 34.3 because this is FA00 router 3 and this is FA01 which is 13.3. Okay, so router के नाम से ही मैं last octet को change कर रहा हूँ. I'm using the last octet with my router name. Okay, so router 3 is here. Enable config T, or maybe just get into, let's copy paste. So actually in HTML console, we need to use some trick to copy paste that I have already defined with most of you. So router 4, last router of this lab, because we are going to configure on 4 routers first, R4, and line console, this is router 4. FH00 is going to be 24.4, and FH01 is 34.4. Yeah, clear everyone? So we are going to copy from R4. So I have almost done with all the basic configuration. Now it's time to configure OSPF. ठीक है, तो अब हम OSPF configure करने वाले हैं. Okay, so this is the basic configuration. If you do not know this configuration, then obviously you need to practice your CCNA skills a lot then. But if you able to understand till here, it means you already have some basic theory or lab knowledge. So let's configure OSPF now. See, OSPF is going to select the highest IP as the router ID. So we have two IP address 12.1 and 13.1. So in OSPF, there is a concept of router ID. So router ID is going, router OSPF always select the highest IP address as the router ID. Okay, so OSPF router ID. Okay, what is the selection process? It will check the highest loopback IP if you have configured highest loopback IP. So loopback interfaces are called virtual interfaces. If you do not know, loopback IP is virtual interface IP. And if you do not have a loopback IP, it will check the highest physical interface IP. Okay, so right now, because I do not have a loopback, so router is going to compare between 12.1 and 13.1. So router is going to take 13.1 as my router ID. But if you configure a loopback and configure OSPF with loopback, that is also a good thing. Okay, let me add this thing also. So what is the router ID? It is just a unique ID of the OSPF, and you can configure a loopback like loopback 0 and give a IP like 1.1.1, or you can use any private IP also. Because OSPF is already you are configuring in IGP, okay, interior gateway protocol. So you can configure here any subnet here, maybe 192.168.100.1, okay, like this. Okay, so this is, and we can use all 255 in the loopback. ठीक है, तो आप चारों 255 loopback पे दे सकते हो. You can configure as a /32 also. If you do not want, you can use still 255, 255, 255.0. Okay, but loopbacks are, you can configure 32/32 IP loopback. तो loopback हम क्यों बना रहे हैं? We are using loopback for my router ID. And how you configure? So we will create 4 loopbacks. Router 1, 100.1, router 2, 100.2. So you must be thinking how we are using two same networks on two routers. अगर आपको ये लग रहा है ना, if you feel like we have already given 100.1 here, why we are configuring 100.2 here? Because we have given all 255. So 100.1 is considering a different IP. 100.2 is considered as a different IP and different network because we are using it /32, which means all IPs, all single IPs are in different network. Okay, so don't get confused here. अगर आप यहाँ पे 255, 255, 255, 0 दे रहे हैं, if you are using here 0, then it is not recommended to use same networks both the side. Then this is what we call overlap. This is the overlap issue. Okay, you will not be able to check all the routes from each other. So 255, if you're using 100.1 here, then use 255. If you're using 100.2 here, use 255. Okay, if you use 100.3 on the third router, use 255. 100.4. Sorry. Okay, so this is the loopbacks. तो ये हमने 4 loopback बनाने हैं. Okay, let's configure loopback 0, IP address 192.168.100.1 255.255.255. Okay, R2 interface loopback 0, IP address 192.168.100.2. Remember to give all 255 because you are configuring from the. So this is what we use for management IP also. How many of you heard about management IPs in the company networks? So management IP भी ऐसे ही दिए जाते हैं. This is how we configure management IPs in the offices. We use one subnet and this is how we configure. I hope you got to understand here now. So IP address 192.168.100.3. Okay, in the router 4. Means we will use one subnet for entire company devices. Just we will use /2032/32 IP address 192.168.100.4. Okay, I'm just worried that I have not given 255, 250, all 255. Okay, so all loopbacks we have created and loopbacks are used for testing and router. So loopback interfaces are used for management IPs in companies. Management IP. So what is management IP? Like if I want to get access with the telnet, okay? So if we want to access the router with the telnet and SSH, whatever you want to use, you are going to use management IP. You are going to use management IP address. Okay. So R1 has a management IP 100.1, router 2 has 100.2, router 3 100.3, 100.4. This is how we have configured. So now all devices are not going to communicate with each other. तो सारे routers एक दूसरे से बात अभी नहीं करते हैं. They cannot ping each other because we do not have the routes. If you check show IP route OSPF, you cannot see any single route in OSPF. तो आपको यहाँ पे कोई भी route नहीं दिख रहा है. If you check show IP OSPF interface brief, this is my best command. You cannot see any interface in OSPF. Okay, तो कुछ भी OSPF में configure ही नहीं है. Nothing is configured here. So normally how we configure OSPF, there are two methods. I am showing you the easy method today. Okay, and tomorrow maybe I'll show you network method also, which is also easy but little tricky. So how we configure OSPF, it's very simple. Go to config T, type here router OSPF and give any process ID. So now you must be thinking, what is process ID? Okay, so process ID is nothing, just a process ID is just a number for each processes. Because if you type here on router show processes CPU, so you can see my router is already running a lot of processes. So I'm just running a command here, show process CPU, and you will see a lot of process here. Okay, like IPC, ATM, AAA, EM. So यहाँ पे बहुत सारे process आपको already दिख रहे हैं. Okay, you guys can see a lot of process, and this is OSPF is like a process ID. Like if you want to run multiple OSPF on a router, तो अगर आपको एक से ज्यादा OSPF चलाने, if you want to run multiple OSPF in on one router, then also you can use a process ID. So as of now, I'm using single OSPF 1. That's it. And then you give a router ID 192.168, whatever loopback IP you configure. That's it. Okay, come out from this. And now tell me where you want to configure OSPF on FH00 on FH01. Okay, right here, interface FH00, IP OSPF process ID 1, and I want to add this interface in area 0. If you do not know what is area, अगर आपको पता नहीं area क्या होता है, okay, if you do not know what is area, just remember area is like a group, like a VLAN. Okay, we need to add all these devices in one area right now. Hi, my voice is not coming, guys. Hello, I'm audible. Okay. ये बोल रहा है नहीं आ रही आवाज. ओके ठीक है, तो मैंने क्या करा यहाँ पे देखो, जस्ट फोकस हियर हाउ वी कॉन्फ़िगर OSPF. वी कॉन्फ़िगर राउटर OSPF 1, वी गिव राउटर ID, that's it. Come out from OSPF and go to the interface and type IP OSPF 1. 1 is process ID, and I want to add this in area 0. So remember, area is like, because in companies we can connect unlimited routers. Okay, so in companies also, why we use VLANs? Because so that we can reduce the broadcast domains. तो हम VLANs क्यों configure करते हैं? Why we configure VLANs in company networks? So that we can reduce the broadcast domain and we can control the broadcast in my LAN networks. The same way OSPF, if you connect a lot of devices, and the same way OSPF is going to send a lot of packets in the entire network. So just to better performance, we divide our OSPF into areas. We'll discuss a lot about OSPF areas, but as of now, just understand OSPF area is just a small area. Okay, area 0. Yes. Okay, so OSPF is not related to VLAN first of all. Okay, do not get confused about OSPF and VLAN. VLAN is a LAN solution. OSPF is for WAN connectivity, means connecting routers to routers. So we added IP OSPF 1 area 0, and then we'll go to interface FH01, IP OSPF 1 area 0. So this is how we configure OSPF and how you can verify. Obviously, you will not see any routes because you configured OSPF on one router only. But what other command which you can use in your router? Show IP OSPF interface brief. Can you see that, guys? I have configured OSPF and FH01, FH00, both are in process ID 1, both are in area 0, and you can see the slash value here. You can see the cost here also, which we'll discuss about what is cost. तो यहाँ से आपको OSPF activate हो गया है. OSPF is activated here. Okay. OSPF is configured here. Now we are going to configure R2. Okay. So first of all, I want to show you when you configure OSPF, OSPF makes 3 tables. The first table is called neighbor table. The second table is called database table. And the third table is called routing table. Routing table. तो ये हमारे 3 टेबल होते हैं. Okay. First we get information of neighbors. Then we share information with each other. And then we configure routing. We choose the best path. Remember at the starting of session, I told you 3 things. OSPF discover the neighbors with the neighbor table. Okay, store in the neighbor table. Then it exchange the link information with each other, and all information will be stored in the database table. And from the database table, we will find the best path, and the best path will go in the routing table. Got the theory now? Neighbor table में neighbor को रखेंगे, डेटाबेस में सारे इंफॉर्मेशन को रखेंगे, और उसमें से जो बेस्ट इंफॉर्मेशन होगी उसको हम राउटिंग टेबल में रखेंगे. ओके, we will store the neighbor information in the neighbor table, all neighbors will exchange information with each other. That information will store in the database table, and the best information, best path will be stored in the routing table. Okay, so we'll discuss about 3 tables again, but let's configure R2. Okay, remember in R1, yes, I will add all these things, don't worry. Okay, router 1 mina. So router 1, we left the loopback because we need to add that loopback what we created in OSPF 1 area 0. We added in area 0. Okay, so now if you verify show IP OSPF interface brief, you guys can see I have configured OSPF in all 3 interfaces. Let's go to R2, do the same thing. Router OSPF 1, router ID 192.168.100.2 because this is router 2. Exit. Go to interface FH00. Okay, IP OSPF 1 area 0. Interface FH01 IP OSPF 1 0. Okay, interface loopback 0. IP OSPF 1 area 0. Okay, can you see that my neighborship came up with R1? With which router? Neighbor 100.1. Who is 100.1? Router 1. So mera R1, R2 is now neighbor. You guys can check show IP OSPF neighbor. So you guys can see 100.1 is my neighbor. Router 2 is telling you that 100.1 is my neighbor. Okay, 100.1 is my neighbor. The same way, if you go to router 1 is going to say router 2 is my neighbor. Show IP OSPF neighbor. So you can see router 1 is saying 100.2 is my neighbor. Router 2 is showing 100.1 is my neighbor. Means they are exchanging the neighbor information with each other. Okay, and if you see the router 2, are we getting any route from OSPF? You can see I got route from OSPF, which is like FH01. I got the loopback IP also 100.1 from router 1. So let's configure on router 3. It's easy now. I'm sure now it feels like very easy. We'll go to router OSPF 1, router ID 192.168.100.3. Very simple. Okay, now we have FH00, FH01 and loopback. So we can configure all together FH00, FH01 and loopback 0. Okay, comma, loopback 0. So can you see this is the command to configure all the interfaces together. I want to add IP OSPF 1 area 0. That's it. You did it with just 2 commands. And now you verify show IP OSPF interface brief. Okay, so all the interfaces are up and running. So the last router, it is going to be the super easy for all of you. So ये सबसे easy होने वाला है. Router OSPF 1, router ID 192.168.100.4. Okay, exit interface range FH00, comma between after space FH01 and then comma loopback 0. IP OSPF 1 area 0. So right now I have configured all interfaces in area 0, and now you can see neighbors are up. Neighbors are up because router 4 has 2 neighbors, router 3, router 2, and you can check show. I'm on router 4, show IP OSPF neighbor. So you can see router 4 के कितने neighbor है? Router 4 has a neighbor router 2 and router 3. Router 3 and router 2, both neighbor information is displayed here. Right, simple. Okay, so as I told you, first they add the information in the neighbor table. Like router 1 has a neighbor, router 2 and router 3. So first we become neighbors, then we get all the details from the neighbor and store in the database. So you can see this is the database table where all information like 12.1, 13.1, 24.2, 34.3, all information I'm getting from my neighbors like 100.1, 100, 200, 300, 4, because all 4 routers are in area 0. तो ये चारों राउटर यहाँ पे दिख रहे हैं आपको. ऑल 4 राउटर्स आर here 100.1, 100.2, 100.3, 100.4. Okay, so we'll discuss about what is LSA, router LSA, network LSA in detail. After this classes, you will be able to understand each and everything in OSPF tables and all. Even we'll discuss about what is the sequence number. We'll discuss about why there is a link count 3 here. What is this checksum value? Okay, we'll discuss these things. So just a first thing, neighbor table to get the neighborships, and neighbor are going to exchange information, and they will be storing that information in the database. And the best information from the database is going to add in the routing table. So means all best information is stored in the show IP route OSPF. So you can see I'm getting all the routes from my entire network. तो मुझे यहाँ पे सारे networks दिख रहे हैं जो मेरे directly connected नहीं हैं. Or I'm able to see all the routes which are not directly connected and they are getting from OSPF. And you guys can see here OSPF AD value is 110. And this 20, 21, 11, this is cost. Every link has a cost. So this is why we have a cost here. So we got the routes here. And if you try to ping any IP, like if you ping under 192.168.100.2, because I'm pinging from router 1 to router 2, it's reachable. 100.3 reachable, 100.4 reachable. All routers are able to communicate with each other. That's the best part. Like in just a few commands, we configured OSPF. So what are the commands? So you guys can add here also like router OSPF 1, router ID 192.168.100.1, exit, and there you go to the interfaces FA00, IP OSPF 1 area 0, interface FA01, IP OSPF 1 area 0. तो ये मैंने डाल दिया router 1 पर. So let's go to router 2. Okay, loopback is remaining, interface loopback 0, IP OSPF 1. So this is going to be 100.2. Okay, so this is already I have shown you how to configure, but I'm adding this in your notes for your reference. 100.3, that's it. .4. Okay. It's so simple. Sometimes you get bored, I know, but this is how the simple configurations are there. Because now you got to know how OSPF is working. They are sending some packets and all. So let's watch a video so that we do not get bored from OSPF, because it's very important. Because of this protocol, you are going to get high salaries. Okay, high boost up in your career. So obviously we should not get bored from this protocol. तो एक चीज दिखाता हूं मैं तुम्हें, just to hold on. Let me show you something. Okay, so let's watch a video. Okay, please focus here. If you guys are not focused, look at the, why I cannot see all of you. Okay, so let's play and I'll explain you what's going on. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so okay, so if you want to connect two routers, whether it is a Cisco device, whether it is a Juniper device, right? They are going to connect with open standard. right? In companies, many routers are connected. How you are going to connect these routers with each other? Okay, we are going to connect with the OSPF, right? So all 4 routers, multiple routers, you can connect to OSPF. OSPF is used in enterprise networks so that your companies can talk to each other. You can add unlimited routers in OSPF, guys. Unlimited. There is no limit. And OSPF is interior gateway protocol. You will run this protocol inside the companies. Okay, you will run this. And there is a protocol, exterior gateway protocol, which is border gateway protocol. But inside your companies, you are going to use IGP protocol. So EGP is like many big companies are using. EGP, like if Airtel connects with the Jio connects with further companies. So interior gateway protocols are RIP, EIGRP, OSPF, ISIS, and exterior gateway is only one protocol, which is BGP. Okay. See, in OSPF, if we talk about, so like OSPF has a concept of hellos. How they are finding neighbors? They are finding neighbors with the hello packets. Okay, they are exchanging information with each other with the hello packets. And there is a timer hello. Okay, what is the timer of OSPF hello packet, which is 10 seconds? Means after every 10 seconds, I'm going to send hello packet. Okay, I'm going to send a hello packet. After every 10 seconds, we are going to send a hello packet, right? So, and if any router does not reply in 40 seconds, अगर कोई router मुझे 40 seconds में reply नहीं करता, if router does not reply in 40 seconds, we are going to remove the neighborship. We will not become neighbors. Okay, we will wait for 40 seconds. If other router does not send me hello, I will remove neighborship or will not form neighborship. So best part of OSPF does equal cost load balancing. अगर same bandwidth के link है ना, okay, if you have multiple paths and all those paths have same bandwidth, then it is going to load balance the traffic. Okay, let me show you one example. So now you guys can see there are 4 routers and all the links are 100 MB. Router 1, and this is the same lab what we are doing today. So all 4 routers connected, and if you see this router, which is router 1, and maybe this is router 4, if you go from above path, again we have 100 MB speed. नीचे से जा रहे, if you go from downside, it is also 100 Mbps. So it means the router is going to load balance the traffic. We will send one packet from maybe upside, one packet from downside. So this is called equal cost load balancing. Okay, this is called equal cost load balancing. So OSPF is basically going to focus like OSPF only support equal cost load balancing. Okay, so if you see here router 1, router 3, router 2, router 4, if you go to R1 and see show IP route, okay, you will see a loopback 100.4. 100.4 किसके पास है? 100.4 is on router 4 loopback. And if you go from this side, okay, if you go from this side, router 1 to router 3 to router 4, this is one path. The another path, router 1 to router 2 and router 2 to router 4. So both the paths are same because this is also 100 MB, 100 MB. This is also 100 MB, 100 MB. So this is why your router is showing you, if you see, your router is showing you the time load balancing. When you see 2 paths in the routing table, it means this is load balancing. And how you can verify? You can verify by doing trace route 192.168.100.4 and type this command numeric. And when you see 13.3, 12.2, can you see 13.3, 12.2 in the first thing? So who is 12.2? Router 2. Who is 13.3? Router 3. So router 1 is showing you that I'm going from 13.3 also, I'm going from 12.2 also. So this is how, if you see both your first hops, अगर आपको trace route में पहले 2 IP In trace route, if you see first two hops as your neighbor IP, it means the router is doing some load balancing. This is how we check the router is doing the load balance or not. Okay, so load balance would be better. So the OSPF is already doing this. Okay, and OSPF hello timer, as I told you, like by default, after every 10 seconds, we are going to send a hello packet. How we can verify? We can see debug. There is a command to test debug OSPF or debug IP OSPF packet. Okay, or like let's see debug IP OSPF hello. Hello को check करते हैं. Debug command is used to check the backend operations. Okay, so when you enter this command, you will see router is going to send a hello packet. Can you see that? Can you see that I received a hello from 100.3? I send hello on this address. I receive hello. I send hello. So send hello, receive hello. After every 5 seconds, it is getting refresh. देखो हर 5 सेकंड में refresh हो रहा है. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, तो हर 5 सेकंड में refresh हो रहा है. It is sending hello packets after every 5 seconds. Okay, 200.2 also, 200.3 also, because I'm going to send hello packets to my router 3 also, to my router 2 also. Okay, sorry, I'm saying 5 seconds. OSPF is 10 seconds. EAGRP is 5 seconds. OSPF 10 seconds. OSPF is 10 seconds, not 5 seconds. Sorry, my bad. Because we recently done EAGRP. So we in undebug all. Okay, so let's check the 2 to 4 which IP. It's called multicast IP. Okay, so if you check these nodes also, OSPF is a link state protocol. Multicast IP is 224.0.0.5 and 6. So we'll discuss about what is the difference of these IPs. Okay, we'll discuss about DR, BDR. Then you will understand this. Okay, so this is just the first class. Okay, where you get to know, okay, yes, कि मुझे समझ आ रहा है, okay, that I'm able to understand this OSPF class, and luckily, obviously, if you are learning OSPF from last 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, if you are still not good at, so this batch can help you to learn OSPF BGP MPLS. Okay, so today class is just a refresher class. If you got to know today, then it is good. But actually, the OSPF multi-area lab, we are going to complete this lab. We are going to connect R9, R7, R8, 88, and this area 2 tomorrow. And we are also going to discuss the database table. What is this LSA? What is the sequence number? So we'll go in very detail tomorrow. Okay, and then we are going to discuss further about OSPF. Okay, so anyone has a question today for basic OSPF, or the class went well?
हेलो सर.
Yeah, yes.
सर OSPF की कोई एक बार सिंपल डेफिनेशन कोई पूछे अगर OSPF क्या है तो हम क्या बताएं सर, एक बार डेफिनेशन.
So I've already mentioned, you can say OSPF is a routing protocol. Okay, OSPF is an open standard routing protocol. Okay, which is used by mostly all companies. Okay, or you can say which is used by all devices. Okay, and the three things what I told you: OSPF first discover the neighbors, exchange the link state packets, and then build the routing table with best paths. मैंने लिखवाया था ये तुम्हें पहले.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes sir.
देखो, you need to learn the concept. We cannot just cram and remember for life. Okay, do you remember your introduction, what you crammed at the beginning of your career? Yes, Hardev? Right? Do you guys remember what resume or what introduction you have created for yourself? It keep changes, right? So
इंटरव्यू में कई बार पूछते हैं जैसे बीजीपी और ओएसपीएफ में क्या डिफरेंस होती है, ये बराबर पूछते हैं.
वो देखो, once you learn OSPF BGP, you will be able to answer this properly. But one major difference today you learned, OSPF is an interior gateway protocol. BGP is an exterior gateway protocol. If you want to connect internet, OSPF cannot help you. Can you get an internet connection from ISP with OSPF?
No, sir.
Normally
Yeah,
you
why
cannot, but there is some pattern like with MPLS and all. It's a long way process, but normally you get internet connection either with default routing or with BGP. But OSPF you configure in your companies. Like just imagine these 4 routers today we configured in the green area. Okay, router 1, router 2, router 3, router 4. Maybe just they are like different cities. Like maybe this is like Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata. Okay, so there is a LAN network behind these routers. Okay, आज हम OSPF पढ़ रहे हैं. We are learning OSPF. We cannot create LAN networks and create VLANs and I show you all. Okay, because that you already know. You can simply create a LAN networks under 4 routers. Yeah, but our main focus is OSPF, and OSPF is a routing protocol which exchange information from one router to another router. जो आज हमने लैब करी है, what is the purpose of that lab? Why we are configuring OSPF?
To exchange the routing between 4 routers.
Not 4 routers. Always consider locations, so that we exchange routes from one location to another.
Another location.
Right?
In area, in particular.
Sir, one more question. In all routers, so we are give up. Say,
Who is this? Yaar, I can't see you. Voice is coming from head.
Shahnawaz. Yeah.
हाँ, दिख ही नहीं रहा था. हाँ.
In all router, we give a process ID that are same. What will happen if we make a different process ID? They will communicate or not?
See, if you change the process ID, let me show you for one router. Okay, let me share my screen. Good question.
Yeah,
Okay.
it.
Okay, let's check. Okay, rather than saying in the air. Okay, like router 1, we configured which process ID?
One process ID.
Okay, so this is the configuration. How you check configuration of this is the command section router OSPF.
OSPF.
This is the command to check what you configured for OSPF. This is 1. Okay, no router OSPF 1, and we will configure now. Neighbor is down, right? Because we removed OSPF. Now router OSPF 2, router ID 192.168.100.2, right? Go to interfaces range. Okay, or interface FA00, IP OSPF 2 area 0. IP OSPF 2 area 0. Neighbor आ गया, दिख रहा है? आ रहा है neighbor अब?
Yes, sir.
Can you see that?
Yes.
It's so simple. But do you think why we will confuse our network engineers? Process ID is like you are not paying for process IDs, right? Pay कर रहे हो क्या? I'm asking you all. Are you paying for process IDs? Or is it free?
Free. It's a private.
Then why? So for your internal network, it hardly matters if you even if you have different process IDs, they will communicate because area should match. If this router is in area 0, this should be in area 0. If this link from this side, we added this link in which OSPF, हमने ये वाले लिंक को किस में डाला है? Which we added these links in area 0. So the opposite side router should also add this in area 0.
So then what's the purpose to give a process ID?
Process ID, bro, this is what I'm saying. If you want to run multiple OSPF, okay, अगर आपको कंपनी में एक से ज्यादा OSPF चलाने हैं, okay, like then you can use different process ID. Okay.
Okay.
So can you see that when I enter show process CPU and I enter this command include OSPF, so can you see there are 2 OSPF process, OSPF hello and OSPF router is created in the router. Yeah.
Yes.
If you run another OSPF router, OSPF 3 maybe, okay, you started another process ID, and if you try to capture maybe this time, you get 4 OSPF process. दिख रहा है? For each process ID, router is creating multiple processes. Like if you play game, if you play music, if you play whatever, right? Games, 2-4 game खेल रहे हो, okay, or maybe you're using a lot of software, your RAM is consumed, right? The same way OSPF, the more OSPF you runs, Okay, the more OSPF process you run, the more RAM is going to consume. Got the fact? And
Yes, sir.
when you are working like ISP, जब आप ISP की तरह काम कर रहे हो, okay, at that point of view, you have a lot of customers, right? Maybe if you are in Delhi location, maybe you have 100 customers. Then how many OSPF process ID you need in ISP router? 100. अगर आपके 100 कस्टमर हैं, okay, if 100 customers are connected to you and you are ISP and they are sharing routes with you, so how many tables, how many OSPF process ID you need? 100. Got it? What I'm trying to say. So
Yes, got it.
more process
Yes.
ID you need in terms when ISP is giving you connection, or maybe when you have a big site, maybe you have a data center, multiple big domain, big company. Okay, or maybe you acquired one small company, एक छोटी company आपने खरीद ली. Okay, now you got into acquisition and merger. At that point of time also you can connect these multiple locations. Okay, or maybe you have third-party sites, like you have given project to small companies for your development, for your something. So at that time of point of view, you run a separate process ID for your third-party sites. Okay, तो बहुत सारे use हो सकते हैं. Okay, it can be of multiple use, but right now normally OSPF is configured with one process ID. But if you configure multiple, then either you are a big company, either you are a service provider, or maybe you configured for third-party sites.
सर
Yes, yeah.
सर वो आपने इक्वल लोड बैलेंसिंग का भी कॉन्सेप्ट बताया, तो ये इक्वल लोड बैलेंसिंग का कॉन्सेप्ट जो है वो सक्सेसर वाला कॉन्सेप्ट जो EIGRP में पढ़ा था, दोनों सिमिलर नहीं है, अलग अलग हैं?
See, in EIGRP, okay, in EIGRP, the equal cost load balancing is calculated by FD-RD value, and OSPF calculate the path from bandwidth. Okay, we'll discuss about the metric. Okay, so there is a formula of OSPF. So whatever bandwidth you have, jitna bhi bandwidth hai, okay, tell me what is the bandwidth of this link?
100.
100 MB. And this link is?
Same.
This is
100
100, 200 MB?
Yes.
200 MB. So just remember, you need to like 10 to power of 8, 10 to the power of 8, which is like in bits. So if you divide that for 100 MB, okay, I'm just telling you in simple words today. So 100 MB has a cost of 10. 100 MB का जो cost होता है वो 10 होता है. Okay, so if 100 MB has a cost of 10, 10 plus 10,
20.
so what do you see here? Cost
20.
Okay, so if you go from this side, there is a loopback. Loopback has a cost of always 1. Loopback has a cost of 1. How you can verify? Show IP OSPF interface brief. So can you see the cost here of loopback is
1. Right.
And what is the cost of my fast Ethernets? 10 and 10. So now tell me, if you go from R1 to loopback of R4, अगर आप loopback पे जा रहे हो, okay, if you are going from router 1 to the loopback, 10 plus 1, what cost?
21.
Yes. And if you go from this side, 10 plus loopback, 21. So if you get a path which has both cost same, then it is going to load balance. दिख रहा है दोनों 21, both are 21, yes or no?
Yes.
So this is when the cost is same for the same destination, router automatically understand this is equal cost load balancing. OSPF, EIGRP are two different protocol. They completely behave differently. Clear?
Yes, sir. Thank
But
you.
yes,
Yes.
yeah. But yes, one similarity between OSPF, EIGRP, they have concept of hello packets.
Sir, sir, I have one question.
Yes.
सर ये मैनेजमेंट आईपी के बारे में एक बार दोबारा एलोबरेट करते हैं सर.
Management IP. Okay, so his question is, what is management IP? So as of now, we configured 4 loopback IPs on all 4 interfaces, right? So what happens if you check here? First of all, why we give management IPs in companies? Because if your router is configured like line VTY0, okay, you configure a telnet, simple telnet. Okay, transport input telnet. So you configured a telnet. Okay, and enable password Cisco. Like this is how you configure telnet, right? So we go to router 2 and configure the same line VTY 024. Okay.
ये रिमोट लॉगिन के लिए यूज करते हैं ना इसको लाइन VTY कमांड को.
Don't you know Telnet SSH, man? Line VTY 024. Next time I have to take interview of CCNP candidates to come in my batches. CCNP तो पढ़ के आओ थोड़ा सा. Okay, but no worries. If you feel like you need to learn Telnet SSH, I think that's there in the. Yeah, correct, Prince. So enable password. So what I did, I configured Telnet on R3, R1, R. Just one router is remaining. I'm just showing you. Router OSPF, sorry, line VTY 024, password Cisco. Okay, this is very old method to configure Telnet. There are some new ways also. Okay, so मैंने Telnet, I have configured Telnet on all 4 routers. So when you are in company, okay, so you will have the software where you can see the management IPs. Like you have an Excel sheet, or maybe there is a software where you can see all the management IPs of your devices. Okay, maybe there is an Excel sheet of your company, or maybe a database where you can see all the router or management IPs of all the routers. ठीक है, होता है या नहीं होता, देखा होगा कहीं. Okay, so there are some softwares, network management softwares, where you can see all the router IDs of or management IPs of all 4 routers. Now tell me, all IPs belong to these same routers? Yeah?
Yes.
So when you configure, when you telnet, when you SSH, you are going to telnet these devices. Okay, you are going to telnet these devices with these IPs. Okay, simply because I have not connected any device with any computer. Okay, तो यहाँ पे मैंने कोई कंप्यूटर नहीं लगाया है. Okay, I have not configured any computer here, so I can telnet anything from router 1. Okay, so what we do here, we say in like IP host. Okay, like let's give router 2. What is the router ID management IP of router 2?
192.168.100.2. Yeah.
Data 2, yes.
What is the IP of management IP of router 3?
100.3.
What is the management IP of router 4?
100.4.
100.4.
Okay, remember you type the same and do not do. So you can copy, you can make a list like this. Okay, and router 1, let's make for router 1 also. Okay, can you copy paste all this configuration in all 4 routers? Yes or no? कर लोगे?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, great. And just when you are in router 1, do you think I have to log in again in router 2? Maybe
No.
it's a, I just type here router 2 and I'm in router 2. Just enter the password.
Just
Okay, okay, sir. Okay.
Okay, exit here.
Okay, sir.
I click here R3. I am in router 3 now.
Yes,
Got
sir.
the use of
Understand.
management IPs?
Yes, yes, understand, sir.
To take a remote.
Obviously.
Sir, what is helping IP? In an interview, interviewer asked me a question.
That's a DHCP helper address command. That's a DHCP में होता है relay के लिए.
Relay. So can you,
DHCP relay, when your
can you
DHCP
bit-
server in different network, then the helper address command help you to forward your DHCP discover packet in different network by converting the broadcast packet into unicast. पढ़ा है DHCP आपने?
यस सर, सेकंड क्लास फर्स्ट सेकंड क्लास में ही हो गया था वो.
हाँ, तो डिस्कवर जो एक मैसेज होता है, ओके, डिस्कवर पैकेट इज अ ब्रॉडकास्ट पैकेट. कैन यू सेंड अ ब्रॉडकास्ट पैकेट in WAN network?
No.
No, because the router kills broadcast packet.
Yeah.
So what will happen? DHCP discover is a broadcast packet. You cannot forward broadcast packet in another network. And if your server in another network, how you will get how you will get the discover packet or you forward discover packet in different network? Broadcast जा नहीं सकता है, right? और DHCP broadcast पे काम कर रहा है, right? So basically your router kills broadcast. So this is why we use helper address command, which convert my discover packet into discover broadcast packet into unicast. This is why we use helper address command, so that you can get the DHCP from different network. Okay, please check your pre-recorded videos. I'm sure this session is there.
Sir, I have a question of TCP.
Yeah, Hitesh.
Sir, TCP works on which algorithm, sir?
TCP.
Yes.
TCP का तो कोई algorithm नहीं है.
Sir, मेरे
Three
से
way handshake
पूछा
you are
था।
talking?
ना algorithm पूछा था सर मेरे से इंटरव्यू में।
TCP algorithm looks so different, यार. TCP itself is a protocol.
सर मेरा इतना अच्छा इंटरव्यू गया, पता नहीं उन्होंने सेलेक्ट ही नहीं करा।
TCP algorithm even
ये कंप्यूटर नेटवर्क कॉलेज में पढ़ाया था, याद आ रहा है।
पता नहीं, मैंने भी पहली बार सुना है.
सर पता नहीं, मेरे से भी, मैंने भी पहली बार
वो
सुना
maybe
था।
is just checking your knowledge that you should say no.
Congestion control आ रहा है गूगल में तो I don't know.
कुछ नहीं है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है.
पता नहीं, मैंने बोल दिया पता नहीं।
TCP based congestion control algorithms. Maybe you can check. Maybe you guys NASA में दिया था क्या इंटरव्यू?
सर बताया तो था।
HCL विप्रो का तो क्वेश्चन नहीं है.
अरे आपको बताया तो था लास्ट टाइम।
Sir,
Got it. Elon Musk, SpaceX.
Global X.
Alan, he is getting selected for SpaceX. Congrats him. Okay.
Sir,
Yeah, tell me.
sir, like OSPF working on the spanning tree protocol. Yeah. Sir, spanning tree protocol.
SPF, shortest path first. HTTP and SPF is two different things.
Shortest path.
Okay.
So currently the hack that you tried, IP host thingy. So that one, even if router is configured with SSH, will it work?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. That's
If it is SSH, definitely you do not have to configure Telnet at that time point. Okay. Or there is another thing. If you want, you can create aliases. Okay. Last time also I told you alias execution. Okay. You can give any name. Like suppose you gave here, suppose like ABC. Okay. And type any command here that I want to see show IP OSPF interface brief. Big command,
Sir,
right?
screen is not visible.
Okay, just hold on. Okay, so guys, suppose you want to try, like you want to run a command here. Like this is a big command, show IP OSPF interface brief. And now you create a shortcut for yourself in the labs only, not in production networks. Okay, but in production networks, if you get permission, definitely you can do that and remove after your configuration. Alias execution, you have given like XYZ, and then you type your full command. Okay, that's it. And when you type XYZ, the OSPF interface command will work.
Sir, it means
So
by
does
default we
this-
can create command.
हाँ, अपना नाम भी लिख सकता है तू. You can do whatever you want, right? If it is show command, okay, not the configuration. If you want SSH, normally you do SSH in routers like SSH -L, then you enter the username like suppose Atul, okay, whatever your username is there, and then you type your IP address or host name like router 2. Okay, this is what you have to use, Diksha. Okay,
you know everything, is it?
No, nothing like that. But just
It's so cool.
Thank you. Say right, sir. Okay, so guys, bye bye.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
Is it mandatory to enable OSPF under Loopback to establish the OSPF neighborship?
No, loopback is just to get the management IPs, and rest you do not have to configure anything related to loopbacks.
No, even if I use the router ID as the same as the loopback, it is not mandatory to configure OSPF under the loopback, right? So that
No. It's not mandatory. Yes, good question. So, Josemary. So
Yeah,
if you
thank
have a loopback, if you have a loopback, it's not always recommended to but in companies we share the loopback IPs. Okay, suppose you create a loopback and I have created a loopback and I have added this loopback in OSPF also. Okay, you say OSPF, IP OSPF, and then one area 0 like this. This is how you advertise, you activate OSPF. Huh?
Screen is not there.
तो क्या चल रहा है? अच्छा 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 ये एक्चुअली ना कुछ गड़बड़ हो रहा है. IP OSPF 1 area 0. Okay, so when you configure loopback with OSPF, this will forward your loopback to the different routers. मतलब loopback सभी routers पे चला जाएगा. This loopback will go to the entire network. Okay, like see 100.1, 100.3. But if you do not want to share, then also you can set a loopback, as a router ID. Okay, router पर वो IP अगर नहीं भी है, if this IP address is not on the router, still you can configure 11111 like that. But when you change the router ID, it will not work till the time you do not give this command clear IP OSPF process. तो जब भी आप router ID change करते हैं, when you configure or you change the router ID, when you change the router ID, you have to give this command clear IP OSPF process. Okay. Yes, and now it will take 1.1.1 as the router ID. And now remember, I have not created this IP in loopback, but still I'm going to see 1.1.1 in the neighbor table. This is the same command I'm going to see in the database also. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just getting this 1.1.1. But if you try to ping 1.1.1, okay, the only drawback of this इसको जरूरी नहीं होता, router ID is not mandatory to share. Okay, the only problem we face during this when we try to ping the neighbor IP, because when you troubleshoot your company networks and when your neighbor is connected and if you are not getting routes, what is the first thing you will do? Agar ek neighbor say, if from 1.1.1, which is router 1, if you are not getting routes, what is the first thing you will do? Most of you are going to ping your neighbor IP, right? Maybe. Yeah. Okay, in some cases, I'm not saying every time, but in some cases, you are trying to ping your neighbor IPs, and when you try to ping, it will not ping because this IP is not actually in the network. So I have seen ISP networks, and mostly everyone create loopbacks, and that loopback, one loopback you create for router ID, one loopback you create for management IP. Okay, so there are always like 2 loopbacks in company networks, one for loopback, one you can use that for router IDs, and one for management IPs like we did. And some companies, they use router ID and the management IP same also sometimes, but it is always recommended to use the router ID different and management IP different. Okay.
So I had a question related to this router ID.
Yeah.
So what I was saying is why do we configure router ID in the first place? Like you mentioned, there are different like priorities in router ID. The first one is given to I think the loopback interface. Then it's given to the highest IP when we share the interface or any other interface, right? So then why we are configuring router ID if there is already a priority assigned?
See, router ID we configure so that you will able to troubleshoot OSPF very well. You understand the database table. If you just randomly put IPs, okay, OSPF is going to randomly take the highest IP address as router ID, right?
Yeah.
OSPF takes the highest physical interface as router ID. And maybe in your company router, you have a lot of clients. What if your interface which is going to connect with the client, that IP is taking as a router ID? समझ आ रहा है? तो so some IPs are means not from my internal network. Maybe they are connected to my clients and all. So router is randomly going to generate a IP, okay, as a router ID. So it is always recommended to use the manual router ID. Okay, when you use manual router, the first use case that you understand the packet is coming from my router 2, router 3, router 4, or router 3. Right? Yes or no?
Yeah.
It is always helpful for troubleshooting. Okay. And also you will able to understand how your actually company network designed and how you can optimize the network basically. Simple is that. Because if you randomly IPs are selected, router IDs are selected, maybe you will not have a better design in that way. Okay. Your company networks are always organized, always have a proper router IDs, proper management IPs, so that you create a documentation, you manage the networks very well in case of troubleshooting, in case of new deployment, okay, or in case of a new network engineers are joining, they do not get confused. There are obviously, जब आप कुछ भी कर रहे हो, okay, it should be organized. So that's the pattern.
So it's like a best practice, right? To put in
Yeah, you
also
can say
the
that.
loopback interface as the router ID, right? Every time.
Yeah, obviously. Loopback is always the router ID because loopbacks never go down. If your physical interface has a high chance to go down with fiber damage, this cable, maybe copper cable, has a problem. Maybe most of the copper cables are under carpet. So if a lot of people will go from the carpet, maybe that cable will damage. Fiber can be damaged because of some connectivity issue, signal issue, but loopbacks does not go down. Okay, loopbacks never go down because they are virtual. Have you heard about in any company or yaar loopback down ho gaya?
No.
Have you heard about this? Like my loopback is down, man.
No, sir.
Okay, you will never see this because the loopbacks are always in upstate. Have you given
Okay.
no shutdown command on loopback? Mistakenly you have given, but if you configure a loopback, okay, you do not even give no shutdown. Automatically it come up.
Yes.
Okay, तो loopback हमेशा up state में रहते हैं till the router is alive. Your loopback is alive. Yes, Brian, thanks. Brian is saying loopbacks are also used for monitoring, management, and syslog. Correct. So for monitoring purpose, for management purpose, and for log monitoring, obviously, loopbacks are important. Okay.
So one more question. In a loopback interface, we are using /32 network. There is no issue with the broadcast.
We are using these loopbacks with /32. So what's your doubt?
Sir, as we know, /32 is a broadcast network, right? So there is
Who told you? That 255.255.255 subnet mask is used for broadcast IP, but we give any IP on the router with 32, that is considered as single host router. Okay, that's not considered as a broadcast IP. Okay, so this is called single host IPs.
Okay.
They are not broadcast IPs. Broadcast IP is still your that 192.168, 12.255 or 13.255, the last octet of any network.
Hello.
Yes, Sumit.
Sir, any limitation for using the router in OSPF? Will they exchange the data to each other?
You are asking about the limits of OSPF?
Yes, sir. How many routers we can use in OSPF?
You can add unlimited routers, but in one area, Cisco recommend 50 to 60 routers maximum.
Okay. And they will exchange the data at same time without any traffic, without any flood.
Yeah. I think we need to learn OSPF little more so that automatically this question you will be able to understand when we do multi-area lab. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Sir, what are catastrophic loops, sir?
Yeah, Ranganath.
What are catastrophic loops?
Which routes?
Loops, sir. Catastrophic loops.
Loops you are meaning?
Catastrophic loops he is asking.
Yes, sir.
Which loops I'm not getting? Static routing loops?
No. Catastrophic.
Okay. So where you heard this term? So that is
Actually,
related to maybe Python or something. What exactly?
no, networking only. They have asked STPs for avoiding bridging loops or catastrophic loops. But I said that bridging loops, but I didn't get what are catastrophic loops.
Okay, maybe some language is used between that. Okay, catastrophic, maybe they mean routing loops, maybe. Okay, I need to check this, but I heard this term in spanning tree protocol. Okay, so what
Yes,
was
sir.
the question? Can you please tell me again?
They said that STP is used to avoid bridging loops
STP,
or
yes,
catastrophic
STP
loops.
is used to avoid.
Bridging loops or catastrophic loops.
Okay. So I think obviously catastrophic to means like if your packet is going and you do not want your packet coming back to yourself, that is I think catastrophic loops. मतलब जो आपने packet भेजा है, the packet you generated, you do not want that packet back in your system. That is catastrophic loops, if I'm not. And what was another loop?
Bridging loops, sir. Bridging loop.
Bridging loops. Okay. I think
Catastrophic maybe this is for asymmetric routing loops.
Yeah, maybe I have to check. I'll
Yeah.
get back to you tomorrow. Okay. We'll see.
Okay, sir.
You can
And one
also
more thing,
check.
sir. And one more thing. If STP is enabled in all switches by default, and if CDP is disabled, then still STP works or not, sir?
STP definitely it will work if you disable CDP.
Okay.
STP is to loop detection mechanism. CDP is a Cisco discovery protocol.
Okay, but I thought that through CDP only switches will exchange their informations.
No. STP you can disable CDP and check STP is working or not.
Okay, sir. And
okay,
thing,
CDP is running on SNAP protocol, sub network access protocol.
Okay.
Okay, and there is a MAC address 010CCCCC something for this what we call CDP. CDP uses 010CCC MAC address, and STP is using some different MAC address 01FE0 something, which is called multicast MAC address, which are little different. The rest you can do a practical disable CDP and check if it will work. I think they will work for sure.
So CDP is a Cisco proprietary protocol.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
LLDP is open standard.
LLDP open.
Oh, OSPF class चल रही है.
Sir, but today class is awesome.
And sir, where can I find?
Why?
these
Because of
shared
my
notes, sir?
writing skill today?
No, sir, a lot.
Oh, I think because of
I have a question.
Yes.
Sir.
Same configuration can we use Juniper router?
Same configuration?
So same configuration can be used Juniper router, because right now, sir,
No.
I selected
Juniper is a different product, right? So Juniper is a different product. So definitely theory part is same. The configuration, you need to go to edit system, then you need to go under edit protocols, then you need to set OSPF interface. Then these are some commands. Means in Juniper the commands are little lengthy. Okay, so it is a purely Linux based system, and Juniper always follows hierarchy. So definitely if you're good at Cisco, you will be able to understand Juniper. So I'm over for the day, guys. Thank you very much for joining the class.